Welcome to Code Report. I'm your host, Connor Hoekstra. One thing off the top of the episode, last week I posted the following solution to the problem number 1 from the previous week's LeetCode contest number 119. And someone pointed out in the comment section very aptly that instead of using the partial sort STL algorithm, we could have made use of the nth element algorithm from the STL library, which is very, very similar, but instead of sorting the first k elements, it just basically does a predicate sort, meaning that it doesn't keep them in order. So for the first k elements, it sorts them in the sense that it puts them at the front of the array, but it doesn't sort them in any particular order. And because of this, we're able to achieve linear runtime. So thank you so much to this user. I actually knew this, but just missed the opportunity to use this. And it's awesome that someone pointed this out. So thank you so much. Last week, we had 5 contests that happened. We had 2 contests from topcoder, SRM746 and SRM747. We had the start of the January Circuits contest from Hacker Earth. We had the weekly LeetCode contest number 120. And we had from Codeforces round 533. And to finish off the week, we had from Code Chef the January cook-off. Taking a look at the top 10 leaderboards, here they are for the 2 top coder contests. We had a number of individuals placing on multiple top 10 leaderboards. In the number 1 spot for both contests was Piotr, so congratulations to him. In the second place spot for the SRM746 contest, and in the 10th spot for the SRM747 contest, we had Kuniavsky. Tourist took 3rd and 2nd respectively, and RNG58 took 4th and 3rd respectively. Taking a look at the top 10 leaderboards for the other 3 contests, we only had 1 individual, I believe, to place on multiple top 10s, and that was Yui, who placed 5th in the LeetCode contest and 10th in the Division 1 Code Chef contest. Other familiar names in the number 1 spot at the top of the LeetCode contest is KMJP. This individual has been placing in top 10, I believe, in the last 2 or 3 weeks ever since joining the LeetCode website. We also had ArcNave in 2nd, Camcode in 3rd, Hexadecimal in 4th, and Natsugiri in 6th, and Xiao Aoxiang in 7th. And taking a look at the overall top 10 leaderboard for Codeforces, there weren't actually any changes, although it sort of looks like there was, and that's only because in the number 8 spot, 000 changed their username to WXHTXDY. So I'm not actually sure which is easier in order to pronounce it, but at least we don't have, a 20-character username at this point. So that's the only update there. In today's video, we're going to be covering the solution to the problem number 1 from the Division 2 SRM747 contest entitled Sherlock. The problem states, Benedict Cumberbatch is an actor who is famous not only because of his roles. It is also known that you can misspell his name almost arbitrarily, and people, and computers too, will still recognize him. In this problem, you are given the name of a person, the first name and the last name. We say that this name matches Benedict Cumberbatch if it has the following properties listed below. Number 1, each name must have at least 7 letters. Number 2, the first name must start with a B and the last name must start with a C. Number 3, at least 3 characters of first name must appear somewhere in the name Benedict. And number 4, at least 5 characters of the last name must appear somewhere in the name Cumberbatch. In conditions 3 and 4, note that we count each occurrence of a letter even if that letter occurs in the given name more times than in the actor's actual name. Return it is him if all the conditions are satisfied, and it is someone else if they aren't. And note the constraints for this problem are that first and last name are going to be between 1 and 20 characters, and they're all going to be uppercase. So this is a pretty straightforward problem, but when I was looking at the solutions that most people use, they were, in the 20 to 40 line range. And if you make use of some of the algorithms that come with the languages that you're programming with, you can really do it in less than 10 or so lines. So we're going to jump straight into the solutions and just take a look at those, because we don't really need to talk about how to solve this problem. It's just a matter of verifying that all 4 of these things are true for the 2 strings that were provided. So taking a look at our first C++ solution, we can see we have our function, it is him, that takes two strings, f and l, for first name and last name, and then returns a string which is either going to be it is him or it is someone else based on the criteria. And at the top here, we just define two strings, B and C, to represent the first name Benedict and the last name Cumberbatch. And then we just check our conditions. So we are setting a Boolean here, and one by one, we're just going through the criteria. So the first one is that both of the first and last have more than 7 characters, or more than or equal to 7 characters. The second condition is that the first character of each of first and last are B and C respectively. And then the trickiest of the ones, criteria 3 and 4, are that the number of letters that exist in our two strings f and l, that the count that sort of matches letters in Benedict and Cumberbatch are 3 for the first name and 5 for the second name. So the way we can do this for C++ is making use of our COUNTIF function that we're going to call for both first and for the last name, and then we're just going to pass it a lambda in the capture list. We're capturing the two strings B and C respectively that we need to use in the lambda body, and then we're just checking to see if that character that we're currently looking at, E, if we can find that in our string. And so if our find method returns anything other than string and pause, we can basically count this. So at the end, we're going to end up with a count based on this lambda, and then we need to check if it's greater than 3 for our first name and greater than 5 for our second name. So this is a little bit sort of verbose in terms of having to type out this string, : NPOS. And so there's an alternative way to do this, and that is by using, instead of strings here, a set of characters, and then we can just use the count method on our set data structure. So I'm not sure which one I prefer more. This one you have to type a few more single quotes, but you get a shorter lambda body. In the other one, it's easier to just copy and paste the string, but then you end up with a longer lambda body. So they're just two options. I thought I'd highlight both. And then based on these criteria, at the end, you just return if is him is set to true, it is him. If false, it is someone else. And we're only going to take a look at one other solution, and that's the Python solution, which whenever we're dealing with strings typically leads to the shortest and most concise solution. And just in general, Python usually looks pretty good. So here is that solution. So here's our function. It is him, takes the two strings as well, and here are our criteria. So instead of using a size on our data structure string, we're using the generic len function, checking the first characters, and then we can use the sum algorithm or sum function with a generator to check how many characters in our strings f and l exist in Benedict and Cumberbatch. So that's about it. I like the Python solution the best. And the last thing to talk about is the time complexity, which for this problem is going to be big O of f plus l. So note that the length of Benedict and Cumberbatch is constant, so this isn't going to affect our time complexity. And every criteria check is going to be constant other than the sum and the COUNTIF for our C++ and Python solutions respectively. So those are going to be linear operations, which is why we end up with big O of f and l, where f is the length of our first name string and l is the length of our last name string. Taking a look at the contests happening next week, we have 6 of them. We have 3 contests from Code Forces, round 534 for Division 1 and 2 on Tuesday. On the next day, on Wednesday, we have round 535 for Division 3. And then on Saturday, we have Educational 59. And as well, we also have 3 other contests on Saturday, making a grand total of 4 contests, which is the first time in the just over a year that I've been covering these schedules that we've had 4 contests on the same day. So we also have Code Chef lunchtime, which is going to be at 6 a.m. Then we have from topcoder SRM 748, and then the evening, of course, from LeetCode, the weekly LeetCode contest number 121. So for the 3 contests in the morning, if you want, you could technically do the Code Chef, which is a 3-hour contest for the lunchtime, and then jump straight into the topcoder SRM 748. But you won't be able to do the Code Forces. So you basically have to make a choice between Code Chef plus topcoder or Code Forces. But nothing conflicts with the LeetCode contest, so you should be able to compete in that. And along with the 6 contests that we also have the continuation of the January Circuits contest, which is a 9-day long contest. As always, if you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, hit that like button. If you want to see more, make sure to hit that subscribe button. You can follow me on Twitter for reminders 30 minutes before contests start, and you can find all of the code shown in my videos on my GitHub page. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.